The I-5 corridor, which is this whole here, depends on being able to get traffic in and out of these industrial areas and onto the I-5 freeway so that they can continue to grow. The problem with the I-5 freeway in this area is that we have been so successful that now it is over capacity. And we have not done a building of bridges, the type of bridges that would be needed for the infrastructure to have our economy continue to grow. What we do know from studies before is that we need more capacity in the Vancouver metropolitan area. How do the bridges that we have work and what is their condition? The I-205 bridge, which is right here, is at capacity 9 years ahead of schedule. The I-5 corridor is, with the I-5 bridge and the I-205 bridge being our only crossings, and the I-205 bridge being to capacity 9 years ahead of schedule, and the I-5 freeway bridge being over capacity since the 1980s, the next step is to say, how are our bridges? Well, since the 205 bridge is new, it's in pretty good shape. And the I-5 freeway bridge is actually in excellent shape itself, or at least really good. When the studies were done recently to see if the bridge was okay and spend $17 million to paint, they found that in taking the rust off the bridge, the steel was actually the same thickness or a little thicker than the original stats had called for. So since 2000, they went ahead and spent $41 million upgrading the bridge, redoing the electrical on the lifts, redoing some of the gears on the lift, taking care of the decking, and then, of course, painting it. So now that we know that both of the bridges in our area are okay, the I-205 and the I-5, their only problem is they work too hard. The next step is to say, what bridges have we identified would be next, and where is the traffic going? Well, the bridge influence area studies that talk about what influences the bridge, the I-5 bridge, happens to be the industrial areas and the ports that are adjacent to it. So we look at the 2000 Regional Transportation Plan from Oregon. These are items that have already been adopted. The multimodal needs of the I-5 corridor. When you look down it, the little stars happen to have to do with what we're talking about. And the arrow here says, consider a new arterial freight connection between Highway 30, the port facilities in Portland and Vancouver. An arterial study was done during the I-5 Trade and Transportation Partnership. An arterial study was also done during the Southwest Regional Transportation Council's visioning corridors of 2008. They studied an arterial road. The difference between an arterial road and a freeway is quite a bit. This right here talks about the difference between an arterial road and the amount of capacity per lane. A freeway carries approximately 2,000 to 2,200 vehicles per hour per lane. An arterial carries much less. It carries around 900 to 1,000. What they found in the I-5 Trade and Transportation Partnership and what they found in the Regional Transportation of Southwest Washington's Visioning Corridor was that a 2-lane or 4-lane arterial, 2 lanes in each direction, would be at capacity upon opening and would carry approximately 30,000 vehicles, taking traffic off of I-5. However, the arterials that they were talking about started at I-5 at the Port of Vancouver and went over to Highway 30 and did not connect to the rest of the infrastructure. So when you take a look at what is needed in this area, here we are back at just the 2 bridges. These maps show the amount of freight traffic that goes back and forth out into the ports. And here in the Port of Portland is mostly what this map is showing, and the Rivergate area. The potential capacity for the Oregon Transportation of Partnership is build a new highway, north and south. Build a super rail, north and south. Preserve the existing highways. Since the I-5 freeway and the I-5 bridge are doing exactly what they need to do, which is carry capacity, we need to add more capacity to meet these needs. What has been acknowledged is the majority of the traffic wants to head west. West to the Port of Vancouver, west to Rivergate, west to the Port of Portland, and west when they head over to Hillsborough. So knowing that the #1 destination is west, the idea of the port to port, which was recommended and adopted in the 2000 Regional Transportation Plan for Oregon, gives us the idea that if the 2 current bridges, I-205 and I-5, are structurally sufficient, meet all requirements, and have nothing wrong, we need to go forward with additional bridges. You may not have heard the first segment, but the first segment stated very clearly that having bridges strategically located where we need them is best. It is better than trying to widen the current bridges we have and having the traffic drive through the adjacent neighborhoods to get there. So, now that we know their destination is Rivergate, Port of Portland, and Port of Vancouver, and these areas are landlocked. How are they landlocked? By neighborhoods. Neighborhoods that have, such as in Vancouver, Mill Plain. It's the extension. The traffic runs at street level through the neighborhoods. This is a problem. It is also a problem in North Portland, where they use the St. John's Bridge, retail areas, and neighborhoods. It has created unsafe environments, unhealthy environments, high asthma, cancer rates, and by many is considered to be inhumane. It is also against city policy to use neighborhood streets for regional traffic. Therefore, continue watching and see what we have as the idea that will take care of these problems. Thank you.